Hello Flosstube, welcome to Snickerdoodle Stitch. My name is Kathleen and this is my 2025 end of year WIP parade with probably a little bit of kitted things in here and one finish, which will make sense in a WIP parade when I get to it. So I'm going to dive right in. I'm anxious to see if I have more or less than I did last year. Last year I had 60 WIPs at the end of the year. I was hoping to have fewer than that this year. I started out the year really good with not allowing myself to start anything unless I finished something. And somewhere around middle of the year, I lost the plot. But I still had a lot of finishes. I finished, I think 32 things this year. My next Flosstube is going to be a finish parade. So I'll show everything that I finished, except for maybe one or two things that went as smalls exchanges and I don't have them anymore and maybe didn't keep the greatest photo. So the first thing I'm going to show is a start. So it also is a WIP, but it's a start and it is Elegant Lace from Works by ABC, and I am doing this for EJ from Sunshine Stitcher's annual Stitch Along. This is the third one I've participated in. I finished the last 2 years on time, so her Stitch Alongs start in December and they run through really December of the following year. So she breaks the pattern into 12 sections and it would run December through November, and then December's a catch-up month. But it's also the start of the next year. So to do the Elegant Lace, I am using Flosh, which is a thread made by DMC, and you can see here's one strand. It is a little bit thicker than our normal 6-strand embroidery floss. A strand of this is probably about as thick as 1.5 to 2, somewhere in there, strands of floss. So it gives you the ease of only stitching with one strand, but it's thicker. And the skeins are different than normal floss. You don't try just pulling it off or you end up with a tangled up mess. I think Sheila had one that she showed on her WIP parade that she just had. Sheila from Sunshine Stitchers also. But yeah, I would look, there are some YouTube videos out there on how to cut one of these, and I didn't do it exactly like the video showed because I had already started pulling a strand and began to make a mess, but I was able to salvage it. So a hank of this, I think it's like $8.50, but it's 150 yards, so it's about as much as 6 skeins if you use 2 strands at a time, I think is what I'm remembering. But I started this on December 14th, which was when the Stitch Along officially kicked off, and I have my December piece done. It is this way. So it's the upper left-hand corner, and I am stitching this on 36 count Timber Wolf from Seraphim Fabrics. And I'll hold it up a little closer so you can see the stitching. So the really dense, the solid bright white part is the Flosh, and that's a full X. And then the lacy looking parts in here, that's one strand of our normal DMC embroidery floss, and it's just a 10 stitch, so just the one direction. It's gonna take some work to keep up with this one. The last 2 years they were Quakers, and I was able to get the month stitching done in about 2 evenings. This took me 3 evenings, so it's gonna be a little bit more of a commitment, but I'm determined to keep up with it again this year. I had really wanted to stitch one of the Works by ABC. In fact, I already had Exquisite Lace. Arlene, the designer for Works by ABC, she has a couple of these, and I had this one already, and I wasn't gonna buy the Elegant Lace, but then I did end up picking it up. So I will be stitching on that throughout the year. This next one is my finish, but it's also a start. So this last weekend I was in Philly and I went to Rittenhouse Needlepoint. a lovely needlepoint shop which has every floss and thread known to man. But they also have a nice selection of cross-stitch patterns. Kind of a small one, but different than what you typically see in shops. But I picked up this Cottage Garden Threads Christmas Eve, and it's only 2 overdyes, the red and the green, the rest is DMC, and I really wanted to start this there. So I picked up a couple overdyes, and then they don't have a lot of cross-stitch fabric. They have some, but nothing that was grabbing my eye to stitch this on, and I didn't really need to buy fabric. And when I got back to my room, I remembered that I had this big piece of Saltbush from Fox and Rabbit. It's 32 count. And so I went ahead and started it. I got his hat done, which is about 300 stitches, just getting that little hat done. And the reason I had this fabric with me was because I was finishing up this Told in a Garden pattern. So this is a free pattern. It's on the Told in a Garden website. If you just go to tiag.com, and they have a section with their freebie patterns, and this is the 2001 Christmas Angel. I think she put a free pattern out every year at Christmas time. And I'll hold it up closer. It's not gonna show up great on camera. There's a ton of Krynic on there, and there are some beads. And I did swap out the red that it called for, was a much more orangey red, and I swapped for more of a 321 kind of red. But all of those little red diamonds on her dress are Krynic. This gold is Krynic, and around her head there's a lot of Krynic. It just isn't gonna show up. It's very sparkly in person. I wish you could see the sparkle. I'm not sure how to make that happen. Well, you can kind of see it there. Anyway, I thought she was very sweet. Anybody that is interested in doing one of the Fancy Ladies but doesn't want the commitment, her freebie patterns are a nice size. This is only a couple nights stitching. And she is done. So, but now this project bag will become my Christmas Eve, and I love this project bag. This bag is from Simply Stitched, and I got it when I was at Stitch North. I collect mice and love the little mice on here, and it's kind of a pleather bottom, but just a beautifully made bag. All right, next up. Ooh, I know what this one is. If I have a project in one of these mesh gusseted bottom bags, I always know they're a Mirabilia. Not that I have many Mirabilias, but I do have some, and they take so much floss and a large piece of fabric that I always put them in that style bag. This is Santa's Magic, and it's from 1995. I've had it about that long. It is out of print now, and look, it was only $9 back in 1995. I am stitching this on 32 count Grace Atomic Ranch Golden Harvest. It was fabric that I had in stash, which matched the photo as close as I could get. And I have a pretty good chunk done. I haven't started working on this yet this year, so my New Year's weekend is gonna be a Mirabilia weekend. Hold that up closer so you can see it. So it's kind of hard to tell what I've got going there. It is, it's this part right here is what I have done. So I've been working on this, and it's at the point where I need to, two directions I can go. One, I'm at the point where there's a lot of Krynic on this. There's one color that I think I saw actually needs 8 spools of it, and I have about 5 spools, so I've still got to get a hold of a couple more. And then his beard is a lot of white and grays, but the pattern is so old that it's the old grays before the dye lots changed. And so I have a few skeins, and I'm on a mission at a couple of the crafty thrift shops looking for some of the old labeled, the old paper labels of grays so that I've got the right gray. The new gray is really purpley looking, or green, I forget which. It wasn't a color that I wanted for his beard, so I want the old, more traditional gray. All right, what I'm tackling here is this, which is actually my bin that sits next to my stitchy spot, so it's always whatever's in season or what I will pull from currently. But there's a lot in here that I haven't pulled yet. All right, this next one I remember. This is Erica Michael's Christmas Countdown, and I actually wanted to do this and finish it to make a magnetic advent calendar. And I started it on 28 count white cholt French lace, and I didn't like it. I don't like the fabric. It's holier than Zweigart. You can see it's very see-through, or you can see it against my dark top. So I wasn't crazy about stitching on the fabric, and I didn't like the colors once I stitched them for the piece. So I got December done and then abandoned this. And I've got to do something with this. I'll cut it as a band and, I don't know, put it on a towel or something. But I didn't like the colors, and so I pulled some new colors to use. Not all of these, but they were just ones that I had grabbed. I wanted to do it more modern kind of colors. And so I'm going to restart it in different fabric because I don't like stitching on that gray. That which fabric I remember was driving me crazy. I don't use the sewing method. I do the one hand in a hoop, up, down. And the holes in this fabric are bigger. They're not as dense as Zweigart. And so when I would poke the needle up, before I could come up on top to grab the needle, it would fall. I could try some pony needles, some of the black ponies too. I think they would create some drag to prevent it from falling, but I just don't like that fabric. And now I've stitched on it and changed colors, so I'll have to find something different. All right, this next one is Hands-On Design, the Tree Lot. And I really want to do these and finish them as triangles, so Christmas tree shaped. And let's see, because I don't remember how far I've gotten. And I'm supposed to be keeping track. All right, this is number 4. And it looks like I actually have one of these done. This is on 20 count charcoal gray Ada. And I finished that one, it looks like. But I've got 2 more to do. So this will get some love here. I know when I worked on that last, it was when I went away right after Christmas. And I'm getting ready to go away after Christmas again, and I'll take that with me again. This next one I don't think is, no, it's not a start. I had finished a couple ornaments from here, but I've got all the floss colors that this book call for. This book is gorgeous. It's from Veronique Engiger. I need to brush up on my French pronunciation, but it is a beautiful book with retro style ornaments, and there are hundreds in here. Let me see if I got another page marked. I bought it. I love these mice in here. So that's just a couple sample pages from it, but it's a hardcover. Oh yeah, I wanted to do this little Santa outfit hanging there. But you see what I mean? They're very retro. I got this book on Amazon. She does sell a lot of patterns on Etsy, and I love her patterns. The only downside, the patterns are sold in these very large collections. Like, here's 100 Christmas cats. So they're pricey because it's a lot of patterns. So they're not a lot per each, but you have to want a lot of them. All right, this next one, actually just, oh, there's two in here because I had this with me this weekend too. I've been working on, I have two of the Mouse trilogy done. This one is called Mac Cheese. And he just kind of looks like, I've got a lot of them done. So I often will round the corner on the bottom right so that when I'm pulling my thread, it doesn't catch on the corner. That's why that's rounded that way. Pro tip. I do like working on perforated paper. The other one that's in here is Tiny Modernist, Fair Isle Friends. And I have finished the penguin. He's so cute. I've done all of the panda except the white fill-in. So I've got a little bit more to fill in on his head and then down on the sweater, and he'll be done. And then I started on the polar bear, and there's a lot of weight fill in here that needs to be done. I love stitching their little winter sweaters. It's sort of like stitching a Quaker. You get going with the one color thread, but you definitely have to count to get the patterns. I'm not sure if I'm going to do the owl or not. I may just do the other three. And I'm doing those on 18 count perforated paper because I like my ornaments to be smaller. Like that Mouse trilogy is actually way too big because it's like, I don't know, 5 inches or something. Oh dear, I lost count. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, I'll count them as 1, 6, 7. I'm at 7. All right, next up. This will be number 8. Oh, I forgot I went through and unzipped all the bags and I keep forgetting. Oh, I remember this. Okay. This is from a magazine. It's from Just Cross Stitch, December 2021. And I'm doing this one without the baby's first Christmas on it. I just wanted the little penguins. And I'm doing them on opalescent white Ada in 18 count. And it looks like I started on the bottom. So not too much exciting to look at there. And I haven't, most of these Christmas ones I haven't had out yet this year. Oh dear, this one is awfully fat, which probably means I've got a couple things shoved in here. I do. Okay. Sorry, I'm stroke counting my whips. This is Tiny Modernist Stitcher's Ornaments, and I have this as a PDF, but I've printed it out. And oh, have the tomato done. And this is not very exciting. This is from a retreat. This is the middle of the spool of thread there. So I started this at Stitch, New Jersey, did a 3 and 3. So you started 3 things in 3 hours. And these were 2 of my 3 things that I started. And that was last year. I didn't pick them up after that last year. All right, this next one. Crochet Go-Go, and it's the Advent calendar. And sorry, I know that photo is very tiny. And I had this pattern. I had originally intended to just do some of the motifs as ornaments. And then I saw Carolyn Zook last year was stitching this up, and I fell in love with it. So I am doing this on 32 count Seraphim fabric in Silver Mist, and it looks like I got 1.5 of the squares done. So I need to pick up the pace or I'll be long gone and this thing will never be finished. But there they are up close. I need to give this some love this week. Now I'm rethinking if I should stitch. I had thought New Year's weekend, I'm actually off until the 5th, although I'm working Christmas Day a little bit. That weekend I was gonna do a different mirror each day, but I've got a lot of Christmas stitching here. I'm losing count. I'm gonna have to come back and count them when I'm done. This is my project that I had lost. So last year I finished my WIP Parade. I thought I had 59 projects. And then I went away for the weekend and I was at some shops and I looked over and saw this kit hanging there and went, I have that kit. I've started that and it was not in my WIP Parade, so where is it? I had about given up on it and thought that I left it at a hotel somewhere because it just was not here. And this fall, I went to move something on a shelf, so all of my WIPs are in the project bags lined up on a shelf in a closet. And I must have decided they were getting too jammed in there and I spilled some over onto the shelf below. Only like 5 project bags. I don't know what the thinking was there. And this is the one WIP that was in there. So this is a dimensions kit called Jolly Trio Stocking, and it's Stacy Yakula is the designer, the artist, and I have some stamps and I have some quilt fabric. I love her very whimsical designs. And so I've got the snowman hat, which is actually a big chunk of the pattern. Because all that blue that's around him, that's going to be tent stitches. This Ada, you can tell, is stiff as a board. So I do remember I didn't love stitching on this. It's what came with the kit. I'm not doing it in something else now. I remember I got a little bored stitching that hat, but I do want to give this some love this Christmas too. And then I think I talked about this last year and I did a little bit, but not as much as I should have. I need to do some Christmas in July stitching. Oh geez, I know what this is. All right. So this is kitted up. It is not started. It is the Country Cottage Needleworks Glitter Village. And I have all of, okay, this is not Glitter Village. This is Big City Christmas, which I wanted to mix in with Glitter Village. although I don't think it's gonna look right with that yellow cab. So I bought this on a D-Stash. It's the entire Glitter Village set. The only thing is, I've learned I don't like stitching houses. Go back to the beginning. Yes, I am. And that's all this is. I had planned to stitch it on Atomic Ranch Christmas Night. Love Christmas Night. It's one of my favorite. If you need a dark, rich blue, it's gorgeous. So I had planned to stitch it on this, but I'm also stitching, we'll get to it here when I get to the summer stuff, the Beach Boardwalk series. Now these are a little bit smaller than the Beach Boardwalk, but I don't like stitching. I've only got 2 of the Beach Boardwalk houses done because I don't like stitching them. So Glitter Village has never gotten started, and I probably ought to just pull that out of stash. I'm not sure I can bring myself to do that yet. All right, this is something else kitted. So sometimes things end up kitted in with my stash because I buy the pattern and I'm all gung-ho, and then the season changes. Like, you know, Christmas is over and now I'm on to the next stitching season and I didn't get it stitched. But this is an old Shannon Christine, yeah, from 2018, called Car Snow Globe. And I've got all the floss in here, and it looks like there's some Krynic. And I've got a fabric pulled. This fabric was from A.C. Moore many years ago. I stitched something else on this fabric. It's not a true even weave. It was marketed for ribbon embroidery, and it's a little wider one way than it is the other. I did the Lori Holt Flea Market Flowers or something like that it's called, and my flowers aren't perfectly round, they're a little oblong. So that was how I learned that that fabric is not truly, it's not even both directions. So I do still want to stitch that. Oh, okay, sorry. I've hit a couple things that are just kitted here. I've got Satsuma Street Christmas Cat. And I've got some pretty red fabric in there. I kitted this up to take on a trip last year. And then, oh, I've got Krynics in with it too. I'm gonna have to raid the Krynics in here. Although I am starting to see them different places on the carts, so. All right, this is more kitted stuff. Okay, this is just a pattern that I bought this year. The Skating Santa from Love Poppet, and I really want to do this, and so that's why it's in with my kind of active whips here. And then I have this one. I've got all the floss pulled and some fabric. I've got Laura's fabrics called Cleveland Winter Sky. It's kind of hard to tell. It's a little grayish, but I want to do this Santa from this For the Love of Cross Stitch. Volume 14, number 1. I don't know what the date is. This just says display until January 14th, but it doesn't have a year. But this Santa, I picked this up on a freebie table at a retreat, and I love that Santa, and he's not big. So on 32 count, he's only 5.5 by 8. A lot of color changes in there, but he's not overwhelmingly huge. Like that looks like it would be big just with the level of detail, but he's not that big. All right. All right, I'm just hitting a bunch of things that are kidded. Sorry, gang. This is Rosewood Manor, Merry Merry Christmas. And I've got fabric pulled for it. And it uses this Entice thread, which you can see it's a rayon thread, I think. Rayon, fine sparkling braid. Yes, rayon poly thread, and the sparkles are embedded in it. So you can see it's very shiny and very metallic. I wanted to start this year, but I'll be honest, I need to finish some things. This Christmas bin is out of control. All right, this one is Lila's Studio Noel en Rouge. And a lot of my Christmas things are small because I do a lot of ornaments. When I get to the rest of the year, they won't be as small. I'm doing this 1/1 on, looks like 25 count Lugana or Jobelin in white. And it's this Joy sweater that I started here, but I'm not crazy about the little elves in this corner, but the other three I would like to do. So I'll get going on those. And then this one is Heart in Hand, Elfin Around. And this little guy down here, Joy, is what I had started. And this is on a scrap of 36 count weathered stone. He wasn't as bright as what I wanted him to be, so I've pulled a different, the package is what I have to finish. He's holding a package. All that I've got done is the ribbon there. It's supposed to be this color, the same as the J, the L, and the Y, but it was kind of a dull pink. And so I pulled some turkey shred to do him in. All right, now we're back to actual whips out of kits. Another Crochet A Go-Go, Aspetando Natal, maybe? What I wanted was this box right here with the little mice decorating the tree. This whole thing would be pretty big. Like, I want to say it was like 12 by 18 if you did it on 32 count. I'm doing this on 28 count Lakeside Linen Navy Bean, although I'm really questioning whether this is Navy Bean. It's definitely 28 count though. And all I have left to do is this white scallop. There should be a white scallop up here, and there's some ornaments that hang, and then the word believe. I did work on this year, and now I'm debating whether I want to do that part or just leave it as is. And so that's why I haven't picked this back up, because I'm mulling over how I want to use this and if I want that top part or not. Isn't this bag so cute? I love that line of fabric. This bag is from Chicks and Stitches. I normally make my own bags, but oh, okay. This should just go somewhere else. This is Ori TM Joy. I have not started this. I won this fully kitted in the bag with all of the DMC. I won it at Stitch, New Jersey this year, and so it was in with my row of Christmas things, but I hadn't planned on starting this year. All right, what's back here? Some more kitted things. Why do I have a summer thing in here? I made this bag. This I stitched back about 30 years ago. Oh, I know what this is. This is floss and fabric pulled to stitch the mouse, the Stacy Nash mouse from Jingle Ball. That's why it's in here with the Christmas stuff, because it is my in-season stitching. Okay. We're done with Christmas. This next one I've got on squirrel rods. I love this bag that I made for it. This is Mirabilia Princess Eliana. And I am stitching her on Fabrics by Stephanie. Oh, Ocean Tide. I did remember it. And sorry, things are sticking to the magnets there. She's going to be very bright. When I got this out last year, I started in 2023, and when I got this out last year, I was like, what was I thinking with this fabric? Actually, maybe I started it early 2024. I don't remember. Actually, my card will tell me. 2023. So you can see I've got a lot done in the bottom of her dress. Moving along. But it's going to be very, very bright. This was the pattern that uses all of the those 30-some flosses that started at the beginning, like number 2, 3, 4, 5. It uses all of those. And then I've got one other scroll rod. Actually, sorry, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to keep this stuff. How I'm going to manage all this. All right. This one is Modern Folk Embroidery, a Winter Kaleidoscope. This one is huge. It's beautiful. It's a tiny bit boring. So you can see there are a lot of repeats in the pattern. So I'm working up here, and this all, you know, you're here, then it repeats, then it repeats, then it repeats, and same down here. So I'm like a long dog where they're all different things happening in there. This one repeats a lot. I am doing this on 28 count, I think. Oh no, 32 count white Lugana, 2/2, and I'm using Splendor. The color is S820 that I'm using. And I've got a chunk of the top done. I wanted to make this a focus piece for this year, but somewhere we're going to hit in these project bags a couple other things that are going to become that are more likely to be focus pieces this year. Let me just wrestle this back into this bag here. Oh, I don't need to close it because I dropped the pattern, which I'll get later. All right. These, okay. I've had a couple more. These are things that are kitted that I want to start for my Mira weekend, New Year's weekend. I want to work on the Santa, the one that I showed on the gold, but then I've got Winter White Santa. And I just love him. I bought the pattern in the bead pack when I was at Stitcher's Paradise in Las Vegas, and I'm going to stitch it on this Fabric Flare fabric I saw at Stitch New Jersey. A photo that someone had stitched on. It wasn't this pattern, but it was one that was similar, and it's gorgeous on that. So I wanted to start this New Year's, which is why it's kind of out front here, and then I want to start Lady of the Flag, which I imagine lots of people are going to be starting. I won the pattern at Stitching in the Wild. I've got it all kitted up. I decided on my fabric. I looked at the Mirabilia Facebook group. There are a lot of different color conversions, and I debated, do I want to change it? Do I want to leave it the same? I ended up deciding to go with the traditional colors, and I'm going to do it on Atomic Ranch Light Denim, which is this pretty kind of grayish blue. She's very pretty on gray, but I didn't want it looking cloudy. So this is a little bit more blue, but the gold flusses for her dress show up nicely on this. Need these to not get put back with stuff. All right, this is a start, which I didn't get very far on. It's Counting Puddles, Magical Snowflakes. And this is actually like 6 different colors of DMC. I decided to use a variegated floss, and I've mixed in a Kreinig blending thread to give it some sparkle, but it's not picking up any of the color, and so I lost a little bit of interest in it because it wasn't coming out the way I wanted it to. You know how that goes. All that backstitch goes pretty fast though. I need to just pull that out and start over. And then I've got another Counting Puddles in here. I love this pattern. I haven't started any, but I've been saving fabric from other projects that are in dark blues to put them on. All right, that's not a very exciting whip. Okay, this one I love. It's another Crochet Go-Go called Two Hearts. I love this one because when I'm stitching, I'm in the mood to stitch snowmen in January and February. Those are our stitchy months, but then it's Valentine's, and I never get any Valentine's done because I'm too busy with snowmen. And this is both. So I have it about half done. This is on 32 count. Actually, it looks like 28 count. It's the back of Vintage Stormy Night. But I love that. To get snowmen and Valentine's all at one shot. Ooh, I have a bunch done on this one too. This one is Silver Creek Samplers, Love at Frost Sight. There's the pattern. And I will probably finish this winter. I've got the snow globe finished. And this is on, what the heck is this on? I don't recognize it. Oh, 32 count Roxy Floss Co. Billie Jean is the name of the fabric. I think it was kind of a piece cut in odd shape that I bought at Stitch North. It also has a spot on it. Which, if I'm remembering right, I actually did some counting so that the words at the top will cover that spot. We're into the winter ones now. All right, this one is from a magazine from Cross Stitcher, January 2021, but you can also buy it from Tiny Modernist, and it's called Winter Band Sampler. This is what it looks like. It was in the magazine as 4 parts, but this January 2021 has the full pattern in it. I'm doing this on opalescent 32 count Seraphim Jack Frost, which is a beautiful overdyed opalescent, and I've got the top done. The ice is supposed to all get filled in there, but I'm gonna leave it like that with the sparkly fabric showing through. So that'll get some love in January. All right. I'm hitting some things that are kitted. I've got 2 Jerry Blossoms patterns. I bought one year, and then I bought the other one the next year, not realizing I had one. It's Snow Day and Mistletoe Kisses, and I have the wood piece like this is finished on, and I've got the flosses for the 2, so one of those I'll work on this January. All right, I've got another WIP here, the Mirabilia Giggles in the Snow. I'm not doing them as 2 separate ones, and I'm not putting the word snow on. I've got them on a jumbo piece of white Jobelan, and I have the little girl finished and the little boys started. So they just are gonna be on a he's gonna be a little bit higher than her, and I can frame it in one jumbo frame that way. But she's all done. Got a bunch of fuzz on here. All right, I can deal with that later. She's all done, and then I know last year I was determined to figure out the placement and start stitching his hand. That's a thread that I've tied on to nowhere. I think that's what I was counting off of for placement for him on the same piece of fabric. Love that. I would love to finish this one this year, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. Actually, let me pull them out and put him with my New Year's Mirabilia weekend plans. All right, this is kitted. This is not started. This is who's this from? All Through the Night, and it's Jack. I think there's like 3 of these snowmen. Gary from Garon's Stitchery has all 3 stitched in one frame. I've pulled a piece of 30 count Parisian gray to do him on. I had intended to do him for a smalls exchange, but he hasn't gotten stitched yet. Another bag I love. This is from Creative Country Girl, which is Tammy Blaylock, but I love that retro Easter fabric. And what's in here? It has some stitching on it, good. It's a WIP. Madame Chantilly Curious Rabbit. I love that rabbit with the muddy feet. It's too cute. I'm doing this one on, oh dear, mystery fabric. Oh, there's my card. 32 count raw natural. I just started it last year and I got the bunny done. So this year, maybe I can get the flowers done and he'll be a finish. Because I have another bunny pattern that I just bought. But I shouldn't start a bunny until I finish the bunny. All right, we're in my pile of seasonal stitching. This is With Thy Needle and Thread wordplay, and it's April. And I am stitching this. I wanted it to be supersized to make a pillow. And so I'm stitching it 4 threads over 2 on 20 count. And they are not the called for colors. I was just pulling from stash. Some of these are even labeled as limited edition. I don't think I worked on this year. I started it last year and I didn't work on it this year. I used to have a job where I was on a lot of calls and I didn't have to be on camera, and so I could stitch, but now I pretty much have to be on camera all the time. All right, that's just a pattern. Oh, I've got With Thy Needle and Thread Hello Spring in there, and I've got a few of the flosses, but no fabric pulled, which usually means, like, I thought, oh, when I finish this, then I want to start that one, only I didn't finish the first one, so the second one never got started. This one I did for Candy, the 614 Stitchers Mental Health Care Stitch Along and Spring Easter. It's Lily Violette, and it's Enjoy the Little Things. So I thought the Enjoy the Little Things, that's an important mental health concept, and then the bunny, which is too stinking cute. This is on 32 count Atomic Ranch Weathered Stone. And it's almost done. I remember why it ground to a halt. There's a lot of these white flowers around there, and it's showing up on camera, but it doesn't really show up in person. And so then I debated just going with the green and the blue. I wasn't even sure I liked the yellow on there. So I may pare down the flowers that I've got around the edge just of the wreath, just because of my fabric selection. It wasn't showing up very well. And Lord knows I don't enjoy stitching with white enough to stitch when it's not even gonna show up. Although maybe that's better. All right, I need to do something here. I'm gonna have an avalanche. This bag I know is my patriotic stitching. So I've got Silver Creek Samplers American Dream in there. And I have some pretty good progress on her. So she needs her head and the words at the top and part of her arm, but I'm liking how she's coming out. I'm not a huge patriotic stitcher, but that one was just too cute, so I had to stitch it. And she's stitched on just antique ivory. I think when I went to pull the fabric for it, there's so little fabric that's actually going to show. It's very densely stitched that I thought, well, let me just go simple and not use one of my pricier overdyes. Oh, I've got some other stuff in here. This also has some Primrose Cottage, 2 of the little pillow patterns. This was a freebie for her Free Stitch Friday, which is the first Friday of each month. If you sign up for her newsletter, email newsletter, she gives you a free pattern. And I stitched it, and then I want to stitch the other 2 little pillows to go with it. And this is color and cotton 20 count Boardwalk Ada. So I've got the one done, but the other 2 I still need to stitch. I only have one patriotic project bags. That's why those are in there together. Now we're up to summer stitching. This is Lily Violette Estat Amar. And this is on 32 count Atomic Ranch Weathered Stone. I like weathered stone. So I've got 2 of the little girls finished. These 2. My plan is when I get up to the clothesline there, I'm not going to do the sailboats on top, and probably not going to do the seagull. But the plan is to stitch the rest of it. So see, this is my problem. I've got some cute, for me this would be like July stitching, but I really need to do Christmas in July and get some of that mess in my July, or in my Christmas bin stitched. Okay, I mentioned this when I was talking about Glitter Village. I have the Beach Boardwalk set. Flip through these kind of quickly. It's the Country Cottage Needleworks, and they came out maybe 1 or 2 a month last year. I think the year before. And I've got all 7 of them. I think that's where I started. Yes, it is. This is on 36 count Tabby Cat, and I'm using the called for Classic Colorworks, and I've only got 1 and most of this snack shop done. I don't enjoy stitching this. So that's why Glitter Village hasn't gotten started. I had the Glitter Village patterns before I had these. And now that I've been stitching these, I'm like, I don't like stitching this. So the Glitter Village just keeps sitting there. Now, these are a little bigger. I looked, and these are like 59 by 71, and Glitter Village are like 57 by 57, so there's more square. But something tells me I'm not going to enjoy them. So I may be destashing Glitter Village. It's our hobby, right? We're supposed to enjoy this. And I'm not going to feel guilt over changing my mind about whether I enjoy or don't enjoy stitching something. This is Erica Michaels, The Beach is Calling. And I got this pattern at the first Stitching in the Wild, and I'm using the Called For Fabrics by Stephanie Chocolate Milk because Stephanie was at the retreat. And I've got pretty good progress on this. This could be a finish this year. That's what I should be doing, is jotting down what's going to be finishes. This is a fun stitch. I somehow got in my head that I didn't like stitching on this one. I think I was scarred by the stupid beach boardwalk. And so I procrastinated stitching on it last year, and then when I did start stitching on it again, I was like, oh no, I really like this, so what's my problem? Okay, this is Works by ABC, black and white and red all over. These little biscornus, which were inspired by this fabric. And so this was all a kit that you could buy at Stitch New Jersey last year. And I have two of the little red, they have red tops and then black bottoms. It's just plain Zweigart. So I've got two of the red ones done, and I need to do the other two. And then there's not much stitching on the black. It's just those little like corners. So I should take this to Stitch New Jersey this year, and let's see if I can just get those finished. Why is there two pieces of fabric in here? This is Lena Ova, and it's Sampler Mary Poppins. And here is here's the pattern. I'm stitching it on hard hanger, which is 22 count. It's like Ada. It's closer to Ada than anything else, but it's 22 count, and I used to love stitching on hard hanger. Nobody really does the hard hanger in overdyes, but so I started in the upper corner, and then I stitched this on a flight somewhere. I mean, a cross-country kind of flight, and here's what I got done. So then I was second guessing, should I do that whole border? I saw, I think it was Stitching by the Shore, started in the middle. So she's just doing the middle part, but that border is gorgeous. I've seen this stitched up at Stitch New Jersey. That's what inspired me to buy the pattern. And it's a fantastic pattern, but that border's intense. I mean, I'm a pretty quick stitcher, and that's a 5-hour flight of stitching. Now, probably with a meal served, and I may have fallen asleep for a little bit, but yeah, this is with Roxy Flosco Cousin It, which is a dark green variegated that I love, love, love. Here's the Yeah, you can see the variegation again. Yeah, can you tell I like that color? But I'm debating restarting it and starting in the middle. The challenge with starting on the edge is you're committed to it then. You gotta do the edge. If I start in the middle, then I can make decisions on whether I want to continue on or not. All right, this next one is Rosewood Manor Barnwood Buttons. And I have collected a bunch of, sorry, let me grab a drink. I'm going to start coughing. I just don't want to spill that. And I just dropped something. This is on 36 count Weeks Dye Work Dolphin. And this piece is going to be very long. It will be about this long. But making pretty good progress on it. It did get some love this year. But I would like to pick up the pace on that one. Excuse me while I retrieve my pattern off the floor. Although this is one that I actually would recognize the... I know what project bag it's in. I don't think I got very far on this. All right, this is from the Between Friends, a spring sampling, which was a hands-on design, summer house stitchwork, and they had a fall sampling. They had all the seasons, I think. I've got the fall one. Also, I haven't started anything from it, though. But those are like books. And there's some stacking B-score news in there. And I started on one at a retreat and then realized that the kind of counting that I needed to do for this back stitch, and this has to be the right size because it's a B-score new, was not the best retreat stitching, and I didn't keep working on it. Oh, and they're Algerian eyelets. I don't know if you can see those or not. So I need to get back to this because it is pretty. So that's my second started B-score new. I haven't done any yet. All right, this I know because I can tell from the bag. I didn't buy the bag in Oregon. I bought the fabric there. I bought this when I was at Acorns and Threads. It's Ink Circle Sumatran Lace. And I am doing it on, it was just called Touch of Blue, 32 count. And I'm doing it with Silken Colors in Tapestry Green. And this would be, here, we'll hold it up that way. This would be one corner. There's a little bit more that has to go up above there, but this goes pretty fast. I may take this on the cruise. I'm going on a cruise again this year with some stitchers, and I may take this there because it's 32 count, but it's feeling like it might be witchel. It's a single color, which is easy to travel with. This next one is the closest that I have to a full coverage. It's a Luca S cross stitch kit called London. And I started down in this corner and have been working on, getting stuck on my bag, the telephone booth. So That's all the farther I've gotten, is working on the telephone booth. It's on 18 count Ada. This is what came with the kit that I'm working on. I mean, pretty much all of the fabric except a little bit up here is going to get covered. But I'm over here on this. I mean, the telephone booth is pretty big, but I would like to make this a focus piece at some point. I don't know about this year. All right, that's something that's kitted. We'll just skip it, or we're never gonna finish here. This is Cricut Collection, Addie's Angel. I'm doing this without the angel wings and without the name and date. I just want that little, I just want the girl with the bright dress. And I'm doing this on Atomic Ranch Lugana called Freeze. And here's where I'm at with her. So I started on the dress this year. It's a lot of color changes. So it's a little slow going. All right, I'm gonna have to do something to reach those back there. This one is not started, but I'm pulling this out. Actually, this isn't the right colors. I was gonna do this as a daily stitch this year, similar to like a temperature thing, but I would do the flower a day. This is from Carolyn Manning Designs. It's the Flower in a Day collection, and I have it in the red colorway. And I've got it all kitted up with the Atomic Ranch Ocean Sand 18 count Ada. And all the flosses are in the bag. But I forgot I had it in red colorway. I saw this stitched up on, I think, Facebook, and it was actually a post somebody was stealing her designs and selling pirated PDFs online. But the one I saw, it was all multicolored and it was gorgeous. So now I don't know if I want to stitch the red. I'll look at that one again. It was an actual photo, not just the digital representation. This is, I'm looking to see if there's anything stitched in here. Oh, that's wool roving. I was gonna say, what is that? I took a class with Summer House Stitch Works, and this mattress was what we were working on, but all we did was this button, which was just a ring, and then it had a million threads woven around it, and she taught us how to do that, and we all did one button and said, yeah, we're not gonna do that. And unfortunately the project has languished because that's all that's in there, is that one button. Okay, that doesn't have anything in it. This project I actually thought I threw away, and I am gonna throw it away. It's a Donna Graber, and it's called the Apple Quilt. And I don't really like the crows on there. I love this at one time. This is one of my oldest WIPs, so I've had this since the 90s. And I got all the boring white and gray part. I'm also not liking the color transition. I mean, it may not look as bad once it gets the red apples on there, but I don't know that I want this at this point. So I think this is gonna get, sorry, I'm making sure I don't have a needle that I'm stabbing myself with. This may, I meant to get rid of this after last year's WIP Parade and I didn't. It needs to just go. Oh, now I've got a Valentine's piece. This is from Emily Calls Stitching. It's called Be Mine. How cute is that? I bought that when I was in Salt Lake, and it's on a salvaged piece of, ignore this mess over here. This was a salvaged piece of linen from a D-stash I had bought that was a bunch of partially started cross stitch, and I cut them up to just, I used the linen to play with dyeing. This will get cut off over here. This didn't dye very well. But she's almost done. What the heck is left? Just the words "Be Mine" and those squares around the edge. So she'll get done for Valentine's Day. But she needs to go up here with the winter stuff, or she won't get pulled at Valentine's Day. Okay, she shoved in the middle of winter. These next two, so I am at my oldest WIPs. This is Lavender and Lace, Angel of Mercy. It's this one. I had intended to do this for my mom. This was started back before there were overdyes. Oh, I couldn't figure out why the edge was, I was worried that a mouse had gotten into it, but I had this stapled to a scroll bar. I'm not sure that the fabric hasn't dyed or discolored. This is so old, and you can see the shape of the dress is happening there. I wouldn't pick this fabric today. This was for my mom. My mom has passed. So this one's always a dilemma. Do I still want this one or not? I'm not ready to throw it away, but this one I really want. It's Teresa Wensler. It was a kit called Tapestry Cat, and yes, this insert from the Leisure Arts kit has been everywhere. It's on the Lugana that came with it, and my old school masking tape around the edge. That's how old this is. And I have a lot of it done. There's still some weight that needs to go in here, and the cat's eyes need to be done. But then what really needs to be done is all these flowers, and they are all 1/4 and 1/2 stitches with a ton of back stitching. And I had a plan last year for how I was maybe gonna just tear the flowers out of this Celtic row here and do it all as Celtic row and just frame it to there. I couldn't quite bring myself to do that. I did get it out to stitch on it this year. It sat next to my stitching spot for about 4 days, and I didn't stitch at all for 4 days. At which point I realized this wasn't gonna happen. But that's why, it wasn't that I wasn't in the mood to stitch. It was that I so didn't want to stitch on this that I just was coming up with things to do to not stitch. Queen City Stitchers has a retreat next October, and it's a Winslow retreat. So I am debating trying to get into the Winslow retreat and taking this. Like maybe I would be inspired and focused, and that's all I would take with me. Okay, these are just kits that don't have any stitching on them. This one I started after Stitch North this year. I already had the pattern. It's Jan Hicks Creates Carnival and Maddie, Maddie Kitten Stitcher? I have to look up her, I can't remember the name of her YouTube. At my table was stitching this. Of course, she was doing it on 40 count, and it was beautiful. I'm doing it on 32 count Lugana. 32 count antique white Lugana. And mine didn't look as beautiful because it's jumbo sized. But that was when and why I started this year. This was not a planned start, but I did already have the pattern. And then, like I said, I saw hers and went, ooh, I need to start that. All right. This just has a bunch of Easter patterns in there, no whips. I'm moving on. I'm not doing things that are kitted and not started, or will never get done here. This is one of my travel pieces. It's Carolyn Manning's Starstruck. And 1, 2, 3, I'm about a third of the way done. So yes, I like these for travel because I can pull just one color out and get pretty far moving around with the one color before I have to switch and kind of do the same thing with another color. The things that are left open are very pale, like even white is one of them, or 3865. And I try to leave the really white colors, the latest colors, until the very end with travel pieces because my hands aren't as clean as what they would normally be. Normally I'm pretty obsessive about washing my hands right before stitching, but it gets dragged around on airplanes and stuff, and that's just not an option, so that's what that one is. This is also a travel piece, although I know I saw oh, it's back there. One of them isn't in here. Actually, the one that started isn't in here. I have a bunch of the Primrose Quakers. The Valentine's Day. I've got winter. I have summer. But here's Valentine's Day. It's done. Here's spring. It's done. I haven't started winter. And summer is in a different bag. I'm doing these all in Belle Soie, so like here's the color. Ooh, I'm gonna show the chart. Here's the color I picked for winter. These are ones that I love for travel because they're tiny and it's just the one color of floss, so they're fantastic as well on a plane. Oh, I bought this project bag at Acorns and Threads when I was there last year. This one I'm not loving. It's Jeanette Douglas ABC sampler. I love the pattern. I just grabbed a whole bunch of silk flosses from Stash, and they're kind of leftovers and stuff. And then I was putting them on here. This, I'm pretty sure, is 32 count weathered stone. I'm not liking my colors, is the problem. I'm just gonna keep going with it. This one is Scattered Seed Samplers, Shelter from the Storm. And this is this is 32 count Harvest, and I didn't get very far. I thought I was farther than that. All right, that's embarrassing. I don't even call that a start. That's more like a experiment. I am stitching the mushroom top in red. I saw it done in red at Stitch North, and I loved it, and so that was my inspiration for that. I started this, that's why there's not much. I started this at the Stitch New Jersey 3 and 3 this year, so it's 3 starts in 3 hours. So you've basically got about 50 minutes to stitch on something, and I think this may have been the 3rd thing I started, and so I didn't get very far, because by that 3rd start, you're losing steam. Because it's 3 kind of intense hours focusing in there. All right, this one is Mijou Stitch Serenity Room. And she had this stitched at Galleria, maybe? She had it on a blue and white large plaid fabric, and that's the bottom, but I couldn't find the plaid fabric, but I found this stripe. So she had it like a big, like a European size pillow. And so that's what I'm going for here. I've reached both ends, so this is how wide it will be. But this needs some more love. This would actually make a decent travel piece because it's 28 count fabric flare fabric, and it's just a single color. All right, my friend Cindy was asking about this one. I started this at Stitch New England. No, Stitch North. It's Jardin Privé Spiral or Spiral. And so it's designed to be single color. And I bought fabric and floss. It's Sea Party is the fabric I was using. And the floss is called, I think it's Oscar the Grouch. Sea Party and, oh, Grouchy. I love this Sea Party color. It's all backstitch on the bottom. That kind of jumbly looking stuff is all backstitch. It isn't showing up great on screen. I feel like in person the green doesn't show up well enough on there. On camera it does though. And I love the Sea Party. I need to just finish this. It's on there already. I'm not sure why I stuck it in the middle like that, but she was just asking me about that. We were stitching in one of the Jingle Ball rooms. This is a Refleta Soie kit. I did not work on this year. I did last year. It's on 36 count Roxy Flasco Dirty Porcelain. And I don't have a picture. It didn't come with a picture. It was a mystery summer box, which I bought like the next year at no, I bought this online. I did see somebody stitching this, but I didn't see the whole thing. But it's an alphabet and it's got that beautiful border, and I need to get back to it. And it's with Swattage flosses is what it came with to stitch in. There's some that, or some of them it takes 2 skeins, so. But this needs to get some love this week. I had it out for sampler September and then didn't get anything really stitched on it. It was one that it got pulled for that month into my bin that goes next to my stitchy chair, but it didn't get pulled out and stitched on. This next one is RATM Quaker Turtle. And I am stitching this with some Rumi's Creations. This is Garon Green. They gave us a skein of this at the first retreat, and then I had bought some extras. And I'm doing this on 32 count lap and loops, Sunken Depths. And this was one of my 3 and 3 starts. This was the first one. And this fabric is way more mottled than what I like, which is why this kind of single color, I mean, it's variegated, but Quaker Turtle is going to go on here. And it's what I've started is the head. And I think I'm hitting a couple things here that I wanted this to be a focus piece this year, but I think it may have gotten bumped by Elegant Lace. I haven't started this. The Rosewood Manor High Tide, I've got all kitted up. And I dyed a piece of 40 count fabric in ombre. Oh, the splotch is worse on this side. I did a piece for me and a piece for Candy. We were gonna start this and that just never got started. To see what her plans are this year. I was hoping I could get this done in 2 hours, but all right, this I wanted to be a focus piece this year, Blue Rhapsody. I have started it and it is on, it looks like maybe white clay. Let's see. Nope, picture this plus fog. Okay, well that's embarrassing. That's all I have done on there. This was my third 3 and 3. It was this, the turtle, and that mushroom. And you just don't get much done in an hour when you're starting it. This is a stinky fabric. This is a Teresa Kogut Sunshine and Blooms. And it was an exclusive at the Garon Stitchery in 2023. And I don't think she's released it yet. But I finished the basket and now I'm up into the flowers, so I should get this done. I think I got this out for Sampler September too. It's an XG Designs Granny Slip or Grandma's Slip fabric, and it stunk when I first got it. It's been 2 years now, so the smell has finally worn off. That's another Mirabilia. Nightingale. I kitted this up and even picked the fabric. It's Fabrics by Stephanie. Banshee is what I was gonna do it on. And it's not started. And I don't think it's one that I'll work on for my New Year's this I really wanted to start this year and have as a focus piece, but I've got the Exquisite Lace well, this may be Rosewood Manor Conundrum. And what I want to do, because it's the one where you pick your own colors, so she's got them charted for 5 different colors, and she tells you how many skeins of each you would need. And I have the leftover floss from my Toledo to Toledo, because I was having trouble with overdyes not matching. This DMC goes in there too. And so I thought I would use them to do Conundrum, so I would have a piece to go with my big Toledo to Toledo. So that was going to be a focus piece for this year, I thought. There's another one in here somewhere that was going to be a focus piece too, but I don't know where it is. We haven't come across it yet, and I don't... Oh, it's in that bag. It's coming. This next one is from Just Cross Stitch, December 2023. It's this really sweet little kitten in the slipper. You can't buy the fabric that's called for, or I couldn't find it here in the States, but Pink Splash I thought was very close. It's a speckled fabric. That Hannah Dale, her artwork, she has speckles. I've used her. She's got really cute little baby animal quilting fabric, and it's always a speckled background. So this is Pink Splash, which I don't know if you can see, but I got the whole little kitty's head done. But now I need to do that big slipper. See that? Even just this fur part, that's going to be a beast. There's a lot of colors. It's a lot of color changes, but oh, that little face is so sweet, though. I want this to be cute in the powder room. This I bought at Hobby House when I was there the first time. It's Sarah Spark 1806. And it's charted in swattages, and I hadn't used them before, and I really wanted to, and so, or the Auversoise, and so I bought them, only they really need to go on a high count fabric, so I've got it on a piece of 40 count, what the heck is this? Fox and Rabbit flannel flower. And that's all the farther I got. The stitches do look very neat on 40 count. I need to get back to that. 40 count is not my happy place. I find it a little tedious. But these are, now I don't know how those got stuffed in there. These are my focus pieces. So the Cornwall Cottage Sampler from Rosewood Manor. This is on 32 count, Fiber on a Whim Cream and Sugar, which is one of my all-time favorite fabrics. And I have a lot of the border done. I really wanted to make this a focus piece this year and finish it. I'm over halfway done the border, but that basket is no joke in the middle there. So this will be a focus piece for this year, meaning when I say focus piece, I mean I would want to spend at least a few nights per month on them. So that would be one. Conundrum might be one, and this. So Jan Hicks creates Blue Velvet. This is another one. So Conundrum, I had the floss left from Toledo to Toledo. This one, I had floss left from my Put a Bird on it. And I really just needed a couple more, a light one and a mid-tone to add to it, which is part of what this jumbled mess is here. And I can use those leftover flosses for this, and then it can hang on that same wall as my Put a Bird on it. So the thinking was that that would become a focus piece this year as well. This is Pansy Patch Quilts, Honeybee Sampler, in a bag with a October House stitched piece on the back. But the Honeybee Sampler, I'm stitching this on Atomic Ranch Weathered Stone, and I've got the top done. I started on this and then we hit my heavy seasonal stitching time. You know, Halloween, fall, Christmas take over a bit for me here. All right, this bag is awfully fat because I've got the next one already planned. This is Pansy Patch Quilt Serenity, and that's the pattern. And I am doing this on some Roxy Flosco something or other. Oh, Speculous. So this was one that we could get kitted up at Stitch North this year. Oh, I love that. It's like they're bright colors, but they're soft at the same time. So when I finished it, then I wanted to work on Pansy Patch Quilt Stitch to do as a companion piece. And I've got a piece of Weeks Dye Works Rhyolite pulled to do it with. And I thought I would do it with the same colors that this piece is using. So it's another one where I was going to use the floss, but I wasn't letting myself start it. Oh, I also have a Pansy Patch Quilts, a stitcher's tool. Alrighty, hopefully my battery's going to hold out. The only ones I've got left to get through here are my travel and my fall stuff. So Sweet Wings Studio, Always Time for Tea. It was one of the patterns that were done to go with the like Treenway silks, and By the time I got the pattern, the Treenway silks were long gone. So I started it just on some silks that I pulled from, looks like, I don't know what they are. They look like samples that I got somewhere. And I was using those, so. But I started this a long time ago and I need to get back to it. Okay, that's something that's kitted, not started. I've got the Millhouse Moonstruck started, and you see these white spots. I had the perforated paper in there with the front of it to this, and it stuck to it, so I had to color my perforated paper. Luckily I've got ink pads that would work. I don't have very much stitched on that, so I'm not gonna fight with trying to figure out how to not have the late show through. What is that? Gray ombre. Looks purple. 40 count linen. I don't know what this is doing in this bag. All right, let me move along here. I have Blue Moon Designs Salem Knoll. I got this when I was at Color and Cotton, and yes, it was most likely the fabric color that I fell in love with. And I got the border. I stitched on it when I was there, so I got the border done. And that's all that's finished on that one. Let me see. Oh, I love this one. Blackbird Designs Midnight Watch. Got threads hanging here. This one. I've got a pretty decent chunk on it. I just started this one this year. And it is on 32 count Fiber on a Whim Milk and Honey, which I may need to buy for a different oh, there's a second project, a second WIP in here. Plum Street Samplers Bony Bunch. I bought this one when I was at Galleria too, and I'm stitching it on Atomic Ranch Christmas Eve, Christmas night. Oh no, Fabrics by Stephanie Midnight Tryst. And here's where I'm at with it. Like, those are just so silly doing the headstand on top of each other. There is a lot of 1/1 in here. So the faces on the pumpkins are done in 1/1, and some of the around the eyes on the skeletons are 1/1. I've been talking too much. Okay, this is Love Poppet Boo Ghost, and my plan is to do this without the feather things on the side. And I'm doing this on a Fabrics by Jim Ada, and he has these cool colors that he just sells in these little pieces. And I had a few of the pieces, and when I bought them I thought, ooh, Halloween would look so pretty on those brilliant blues. And so I have this one almost done. Then I have Twin Peak Primitives, Fang and Big Eye Gang. I'm stitching these on 3 different fabrics. That are mysteries. Here they are. Oh, Inferno. I don't know who makes this. The tag from the store only said Inferno. And these are all 32 count. So I got the cat finished. I love the cat. I got the pumpkin head finished. He still needs his body. This is on Weeks Dye Works, something I can tell. Oh, Scoopernog or Scuppernog. And then the witch, I'm not sure I'm gonna finish because I don't like the mouth. So this is Grace Notes White Peach Tea. And the pumpkin was to have that kind of mouth. I stitched her first and then really didn't like the mouth. And so when I stitched the pumpkin, I just filled in with orange and black so that he wouldn't have those crazy teeth. See, he's supposed to have that kind of mouth. And I liked him just with a... Mine's more of a happy jack-o'-lantern face. So now I'm not sure I'll ever do the witch, but we'll see. I've got Lila's Studio Halloween Quaker. And it is on the 16 count Aida that I colored myself. And I really just have that upper corner done. All right, wasn't counting on that break there, but had to stop to recharge the phone. So I had started showing, and then my phone started throwing me low battery. I have La-Di-Da, Something Wicked, and Double Double Toil and Trouble, and they finish at the same size. And I'm doing this on 18 count Aida that I dyed myself, and I have Something Wicked finished, and I've started working on Toil and Trouble. That nose, similar to the boot, is a ton of stitching. So this was a fall travel project for me, and then I didn't travel a lot, but this next one, I thought I would finish this year and I didn't get it done, is Nora Corbett GG. And I have another one of the Bewitching Pixies. It's actually in here that I wanted to do once I finish GG. This is on Grace Notes Caramel Kiss. And oh wait, I lied. I did get GG done. And I started, what's this one called? Anna. So I made pretty good work on Anna as well. Why is she down so low? Oh, because Gigi kind of was. She looks very low on the fabric. So maybe I will get Anna done next year, and then I didn't frame Gigi because I will likely put them in the same style of frame. This next one was a start at Stitching in the Wild this year. My table started this one. 'Tis Near Halloween from Lila's Studio. And I am doing it on 32 count. I think it's chocolate milk. Yes, chocolate milk. From Fabrics by Stephanie, because she was there again this year. And I got the left side started. I didn't get very far on this. It wasn't a passion project for me, but the table was starting it, and so I thought I would too. Peer pressure. This next one is Rosewood Manor Autumn Quakers. And I think this only came into my rotation once this fall. It didn't get too much love, but I'm doing it on the called for 28 count Picture This plus doubloon. Yeah, doubloon with the Valdanis. So I may be a third of the way through. I got a lot more done on this last year than I did this year. It didn't, like I said, it didn't get a tremendous amount of love this year. It just dawned on me, I've got Winter Quakers, and I don't remember seeing it. Did I show Winter Quakers? I think this is it. I've got the Rosewood Manor Winter Quakers on the called for fabric with the Valdanis. And it looks like I'm about as far on it as I am on the Autumn Quakers. I don't know how that one got missed. I think I thought it was something just kitted up there. All right, back to fall. Serenita di Campagna, CV160. This one I thought I would get done this year, and I didn't, but it's close. It'll definitely be finished next year. Oh, I love those colors. So the arching tree over on this side here still needs to go in, and then there's some more leaves at the bottom and some back stitching, and it will be done. And it is on, what is that fabric? Atomic Ranch Weathered Stone. Although this one is creamier looking than the others were. This one I just started this fall. It's the Cricut Collection Playing with Jacks. This I had lost as well. It was with that Christmas stocking that I found. And I've got this one in the same project bag because they kind of look similar, but this one I think of as just more fall. This one's definitely Halloween. So Playing with Jacks is the one that I'm working on, and it is on Hey Ravaris 32 count linen. I have no idea what the color is called, but their linen is beautiful. And I just started this year. That one gourd there had a lot of color changes in it. So it was not a fast stitch. All right, that is just something kitted. This one I bought at Stitch North. It's Tiny Modernist Autumn Night Garden. And I'm not doing it in the called for. I bought a bunch of Roxy Floss Co. to do it in. It's similar to the called for. Oh, their floss is beautiful. Their floss colors are just very rich looking. And this is on Roxy Floss Co. fabric. And 1 second and I'll look up the name. It is Night Owl. But look at that. Those colors are just so yummy. They're a little bit different than what's charted, but they were colors I liked. The only thing I have left are, I've got a bunch of small project pouches, and these are travel projects. So this one is a bunch of JBW Scandinavian Ornaments 1, and then I've got some other JBWs in here. Oh, here's a needle minder I made for sweater weather. It must have been 2023. It didn't have a typo on it. That's one of the JBWs that I did in blue and put a snowflake on it. It's this one, and I just put a snowflake, and then I took a photo and shrunk it down to fit in my needle minders that I gave out there. But this one, let me see. I've got a bunch of, it's like 28 count Lugana. I've got the little sweater done, ready to make an ornament. So this is just a little travel go bag. It's got a little tiny hoop in there, and then just some red and green silks. So nothing in progress on there other than I want to do some others of hers. This one started out as a travel project. It's New York Dreamer Needleworks pincushion with a cherry on top. And I started it, but it's way bigger than what I wanted. Like, this is the middle here. This thing is the middle. So that'd be a big darn pincushion. So it'll be about the size of a dessert plate, which is bigger than what I want for a pincushion. So I thought I would do something like just use the corner on a bag. I don't want it this big. This is 2/2 on 28 count, and I think I need to do it 1/1 on maybe 25 count, and I would be happier with it. It would come out more the size I was anticipating. All right, that's just something kitted. I've got Mill Hill Buttons and Beads Stitch in Time. I started this on a plain, and I got the pincushion done. And then, like my fancy bag, this this came out of those Primrose Quakers that I said there was another one here somewhere. This is the one that was here somewhere. It is the summer one. And this is one that I am doing in the called for. It's the Dinky Dyed Saffron. And that's where I am. And I'll just keep it in this. I've got a couple like 5-inch Q-snap pieces there. these make, I mean, these are fantastic for travel. Because again, single color, so you're not juggling a bunch of colors on a plane. That's why it's in this stupid plastic bag. This takes up much less room than the, you know, the padded project bags. And so it was in this because that just shoved in, I had a kind of a bigger purse and I just shoved this in to stitch on a plane. And that's everything. I think, you know what's going to happen next week. I'm going to come across something, or like I just now thought, where was that Winter Quakers? I've got Winter Quakers. Ooh, there's a needle. Okay, I don't know what that came out of. So that's everything for this year. I'm going to do a tally and count everything. It got to be too much. I couldn't keep up with that without taking up time that you guys don't want to watch me doing stroke counts and stuff. So I'll do a tally and see where I'm at compared to last year. And then my next video will be my 2025 finished parade. So I've got most of the things that I finished, and I'll do a parade of all of my 32, I think it is, FFOs that I did this year. But hopefully you're all having fun watching the WIP parades. And now I'm off to do some stitching and watch someone else's WIP parade while this uploads. See y'all soon. Bye.